A quick review of Python concepts, functions, arrays, and lists. In the previous video, we did a simple code to test how the Jupyter Notebook works. Now we'll explore more of its features by reviewing some Python concepts that we'll be using a lot in this course. Let's start! Open your command prompt. Activate the MyENV environment we created in the previous video, and launch Jupyter Notebook. Let's continue working on our Python tutorial notebook in our Statistics with Python folder. You will see the code where we left off. Jupyter saves your notebook every 2 minutes. If you wish to save your work manually at any given time, you can do so with Ctrl+S or the disk icon. Now, let's run the dir function to check the variables and methods available in your notebook. Here, you can see x, y, and z. These are the variables that you've defined. There are a bunch of other things that are predefined as well, but you don't need to worry about those right now. Now that you've seen the directory, you can remove that cell to declutter your notebook. Just click on the cell and press D twice. Let's say you don't think Python is easy and you want to delete that cell too. The cell is gone, but if you call variable z, you will still get the output. How did this happen? In Jupyter Notebook, once you've defined a variable or method, it's stored in the kernel. Removing the cell will not delete it. You have to restart the kernel. You can do this by clicking this icon. So now, when you try calling z again, it's no longer there. Let's clear the cell errors from our notebook and just leave the first code cell. Highlight the unwanted cells by pressing Shift and arrow key, then the D key twice. Restart the kernel too to remove all defined variables. We won't be needing them anymore. Now that we know how code cells behave, let's get to know another cell type in Jupyter, the Markdown cell. Coding is not just about code, it's also about documentation. Writing a description about your work and its flow can help anyone who opens your notebook follow and understand your work. You can do this with Markdown cells. You can customize and style your text. You can even add pictures. To switch your cell to a Markdown cell, click on the cell and press M. You'll notice that the square brackets are now gone and the cell type is now Markdown. Since we also need to review some Python concepts, let's do it with the Markdown cells. Let's write a heading for our Python review. The syntax is # or hashtag, space, and the heading. The more pound signs you add, the smaller it gets. Let's use heading 3. Like code cells, you need to run your Markdown cells to render or implement the format. Now we have our heading. Let's begin our Python review with functions and use heading 4. Let's write a function get_mean that prints the mean of a list of numbers. To switch your Markdown cell back to a code cell, just press Y. To help quickly understand how this code works, let's insert a cell and add a description. Here's what we've added. The exciting part about Markdown is you can add some styling in your long description. This description is available in the next resource. You can copy and paste it into your notebook. Let's continue with arrays and lists. Remember the dataset example in Module 1? Here's an array of numbers representing your friend's daily social media usage. All 25 of them. Here's the code that gets the first 5 elements of the array. In this course, you'll be working with both arrays and lists. So let's convert this array into a list. Here's the simple code. Now let's add some descriptions to your code. Here's what it looks like. With these descriptions, you can take note of the important details of your code and review them later. That's it for now. In this video, we learned more about Jupyter Notebook's code cell and markdown cell. We reviewed Python functions, arrays, and lists and documented it well using the markdown cells. Save your notebook and close your environment. In the next module, we'll learn more about statistics with Python.